This daf Yerushalmi Yoma. The article also edition. We're at the top of Tezayin Amud Aleph. Chavitin Kodmin Levazichin. The Vilna, that is on daf Yud Beis Amud Beis. The fifth line down. Chavitin Kodmin Levazichin. So the Chavitim, the pancakes going to go to the bazichin, are brought on Shabbos from the lechem aponim, the frankincense put on mizbeach. Well, afal pish zeh karmiyov zeh karmadit tzibor. It seems to be counterintuitive because the Chavitim are carbon yachid and brought on behalf of the Kohen Gadol, and the bazichin are carbon tzibor brought on behalf of Klal Yisrael. So bazichin should come first. No, the zeh tadir v'zeh no tadir. Whatever is more prevalent, whatever is more frequent comes first. And of course, the Chavitin are daily, the Bazichin are only brought on Shabbos. Obviously, the implication is that Chavitin were brought on Shabbos. I think it's, just don't think I've thought about it as an explicit thought before. But the Chavitin, even though they're carbon yachid, the Kohen Gadol, they're on Shabbos. Otherwise, there'd never be a clash between Chavitin and Bazichin to have to resolve that issue. Chavitim koyim liyayin. The chavitim come before wine, even though the chavitim are carbon yachid and the wine is the sachin, the carbon tum, the carbon tzibor. Nevertheless, the chavitim are come first. Shezeli ishim ezel esvalim, because this is the chavitim go directly on the fire of the mizbeach, whereas the wine goes into the svalim, into the bowls, which are the pipes leading down to the shitin, so they don't go directly on the fire. Bazichin yain mikodim. The bazichin and the wine comes first. Which comes first? So ask my Rabbi Mastisi. There's not a it's not a price. It says levona liyain. It says levona comes before yain. The levona is frankincense. So frankincense comes before wine. So it says Gemara. No, you misunderstood my question. That which levona comes before wine, that is pashut kind of carbon yachid. When in the case of carbon yachid, so the levona of a frankincense which comes with the mincha is brought before the wine, which comes with which comes with the carbon, as a nesech, because this one is the levona is leishim, it goes on the fire, whereas the wine does not. Kind of carbon tzibur. Our question by carbon tzibur, where we have the levona of the tzibur and the yain of the tzibur. So it's true, the levona goes leishim, and the yain goes to the sfalim, but yain is tadir, because yain is brought every day. The yain of the tzibur is right there with carbon tummy, whereas the bazichin only brought once a week. So therefore, our question is carbon tzibur. It's the carbon learns differently, but that's the way the Nir, Shatter, so and Reb Chaim all learned the Gemara's question. Okay, now so we go to the next part of the Mishnah. We don't resolve that. So now we go to the next part of the Mishnah. Kini Masisin. So this is the way to understand the Mishnah. According to Ben Azai, as the commentator says here, our Mishnah enumerated how things go if you go take the larger limbs first, or organs first. Ben Azai said it goes kederech hilucha. Well, we're going to give the order according to Ben Azai. Let's see if it works out that way exactly. So says Gemara, Kimasi is the way it goes. Harosh v'aregel. 1 second, that's going to be difficult. But the head and the leg, and then a chazeh, the chest, v'agera, the neck, shtei yadayim, the two forelegs, shtei defonos, the two rib cages, okets, the tail, varegel, and the back and the other leg. So what's the basis of Ben Azai? A time on Rabbi Yochanan, time Ben Azai, biktartus kol ayil amizbecha. You put the kol ayil amizbecha as if it's a whole ayil. Kadesh enir kamal gamizech, as if it's walking on top of the mizbech. Okay, so the I'm not sure how exactly that fits into the pasuk's language. I think it's because lashon kol. Doesn't sound not clear, but I think it's kol ayil, as if it's walking on top of mizbech. the Gemara says, in any event, that Harosh Regel Vatamaраchein. That's the case. What's this regel, this back leg, going up together with the rush? That's out of order. The back legs go in the back, not in the front together with the head. Raimon said, Pashat Rasha Akaragla. That's how it walks. The near Ma'ach means not necessarily the way it, the order of its physical body, but the order of how it walks. And the first, when it, I guess, extends its head in order to start walking, it's first and pushes off from its back leg. So therefore, the back leg goes together with the head. I guess all animals are assumed to be right-legged, because you take the right leg together with the head and the left leg later on. So in the Bavli, that head goes first is learned from Esther Shov from Gzeres HaKosam, not because the head extends first, but it's and the Bavli, why it says why is the regel together with the rosh? So so it says there because the head has a lot of bones, so I guess not what the mizbech wouldn't get very much. So therefore they put one of the regalim with it, in order that there should be more flesh going out to his mizbech in that first wave. Okay. Halacha Gimel. Ha'pais hashlishi. For the third pais. Chadashim k'toros. New people who have not done the k'toros before. Bo v'afisu, come do the lottery. Revi is the fourth pais. Chadashim yishonim mimale mivorim nakevesh l'mizbeach. Who's going to take the limbs up from the ramp where they had been deposited to the top of the mizbeach. Rabbi Chanina chesem yom lo yifis adam b'k'toros v'shana. Nobody did the second lot of k'toros in his life. The k'toros once in your life. Rabbi Yossi said, "Masisa Makain." The Mishnah tells us this. Says that the new ones should come, right? So we don't really need Rabbi Chanina's statement, right? So Rabbi Chanina said, "V'chein lamachta." He says, well, the shovel for the coals, which will go to an adjacent kohen, that also will only be once in a person's. So Rabbi Yosef Masisa, okay, that too is not a Mishnah, but a Brisa. As the Pnei Moshe points out, Mishnah is okay. To set the Perakama base, the Perak base, there was no pais for the Machta, separate pais. Mishnah Zacha, Biktoras Uchule. The person Zayik Doris here took the Kohen adjacent to him, as we'll see momentarily. So since only new people come for the Ketores, so also only be a new person there for the Machta, right? So it comes as the Bible says wouldn't give somebody else. But one of those who came with him to the Pais, one of the Chadoshim, to give it to the person who's right. So that both the person who got the Ketores and the person who got the Machta would be people who never did it before, and if they're a zoiche, they'll never do it again. So let's see inside. Now it comes out, since the guy got the machta also couldn't repeat. So it comes out that Shnei Kohanim is Barchim. The two Kohanim are blessed. The B'chopam, the Kohen who does the Ketores itself, and the Kohen who does the Machta. I wrote inside the Gemara, I think that this parallel, this is Hagma and Glila, right? Both the guy who does the Hagma, the Ikra of Maisa, and the guy who does the Glila, the secondary Maisa, but they both get the bracha. So we see that from here. And Rav Amar, Barech Hashem Chilo, Foya Dov Tirtzeh. It says Moshe, we know Shamachta Gam Yisbarech, another one that's Machta Yisbarech, Maisel the Rav Kamei. That's why it brings down that which Rav said. Barech Hashem Chilo, person does the Chayil, Zeh Misha Noisei HaMachta, because he's doing the hard work, so to speak. Upol Yodav Tirtzeh, Zeh Shemak Tirtzeh. That person does the actual activity, they both get the bracha. So that's Bnei Moshe, Korban Eidim, Reb Chaim learned slightly differently, not slightly, significantly differently. They say that uh, uh, just the last thing Korban for this purpose says. Baruch Hashem Chilot Hayadek Torah El Minei Haikra Baruch Hashem Chilot Ksib Yosimu K'Torah Ba'Pecha. So people like to Yosimu K'Torah Ba'Pecha. The people bring the Torah Ksib Basrei Baruch Hashem Chilot Davir Tertzer. That they get a special bracha. So a special bracha they get is this bracha of wealth, and therefore Lo Shana Ba'Adam Me Olam. So the Gemara says it was such an important bracha. Ma'isa Be'echad Shev Shezro. There's a Ma'isa with somebody whose hand shriveled up, and I guess he had it while he was doing the Avodah Torah. His hand became very much weakened. Wasn't completely, didn't become Bamum because otherwise couldn't do Avodah, but I guess it became very weak. He did not forsake the Avodah. He kept doing the Avodah Torah despite the fact that he became weaker. In order to get that bracha of Baruch Hashem Chilo Ufay Dav Tirtzeh. So in order to get that bracha, or it could be another shot, perhaps in Gemara, is that if a person is doing the avodah sincerely, lishma, and with all his, even though Yav Shazro, still Baruch Hashem Chilo, Hashem will give him the bracha to carry through. Some like a Musar idea here, that a person who might be confronted with tremendous challenges, but if he drives through, because Baruch is going to give him the bracha of Baruch Hashem Chilo, and he'll be able to complete it. Probably not always, because obviously if he had become a Balmum, he couldn't complete it, but because of Siyata Dishmaya, that he'll be able to complete his Avodah. I think that's probably what the Pnei Moshe means. He says, maybe it didn't happen in the middle, maybe it was that way to begin with. Nevertheless, in the system, so with this schus, he'll give him the koach. With that schus, he'll have the koach to finish the avodah despite his weakness. Okay, halacha daled. Tamid kar b'tisha. We mentioned this already a couple of times. That tamid is b'tisha, b'asara, b'chadasar, b'shnemasar, v'lo pachas lo yeser. Right. So how so? What do these numbers mean? Kesad. So Atzmo Batisha. We already explained this, that it itself was with 9, meaning that the Korban says Chamish levarim, 5 for the limbs, Echad lekerbaim, 1 for the intestines, Echad chabitim, 1 for chabitim, for the pancakes, Echad soles for the mincha, the nesachim, Echad 1 for the wine of the libations. B'chag on the Sukkos biyad echad stochish shamayim. One of them held the water from the Yisrael Marei Asara. That's 10. Ben Arbaim b'chadasar. There was 11. Atzal Matisha. The carbon itself was with 9. Ushnaim ben Ushnei Gezir Eitzim. We had this good story before. Ushnei Gezir Eitzim, which only Ben Arbaim. In the morning we said the one who does Chumas Sadesh did it. B'Shabbos b'Echadasar, and Shabbos 11. Atzal Matisha itself with 9. Shnaim ben Ushnei Bazichi Levana Shalech Apanim. 2 were carried in their hands. The Bazichi Levana. The 2 contains the frankincense and the Lech Apanim. Shabbos Shabbatocha Chag, and Shabbos during Sukkot. There was the 12th Kohen who brought biyad achad soches somayim, who brought the water from Yisrael. I'll call it. So the ram would be 11. So the Tommy was a kevis, right? It was a young sheep within its first year. Ayel, the older sheep, the ram, needs a chodasar, needs 2 additional kohanim. The Pnei Moshe says shakirbaim shel yoser gedolim, has more large intestines, basol shel shnei esronim, and its solus was not 1 esron but 2 esronis. V'yan shlishi sohain hin, and the wine was a third of a hin. You'd have that'd be 11 kwanim, and that's what the Mishnah now specifies habasar v'chamisha, the meat itself will be 5. Hakirbayim v'asoles v'yayin, since there are larger measures, double measures, so therefore each of them was shnaim shnaim 2 2 2. Okay, so all together. Okay, next part of the Mishnah, the Gerus of the art school is different than the Gerus of the Vilna. The Gerus of the Vilna has always raglayim plural, which gets confusing. The Gerus in the art school is like the Gerus in the Mishnayos, which has regel instead of raglayim, which is much more clear. So we're going to go to the Gerus of the art school, which is the Gerus in the Mishnayos. I'm actually going to read the Mishnayos, but you can follow along in the Vilna anyway. It's not. It is clear what the differences are. Okay, so I'm reading now from the Mishnayos, but again, that's the art school's Gersa, and the Vilna is different. The part requires 24 kohanim. Rosh regel, the head and the leg, right? Not reglaim. It says reglaim in the Vilna, regel in the art school in the Mishnayos. So the head and the leg, which in the right hind leg, which in the lamb and the ram, one kohen would do them together. In a par, you need 3 kohanim. The head was done by 1, a rosh be'echad, regel b'shnayim, and the leg was done with 2, because it was very heavy. So we're up to 3 kohanim. Ha'oketz v'regel, the tail and the leg, the left hind leg, right? Again, that in a ram and a lamb, 1 kohen could do it. And in the par, you needed 4 kohanim. Ha'oketz b'shnayim, the tail would be done by 2, the tail section, and v'regel b'shnayim, and the back leg would be done with 2, up to 7 kohanim, right? Ha'chazav ha'gera, the chest and the neck, which in the lamb and the ram was 1 kohen, and the par you needed 4 kohanim. Ha'chazav be'echad, the chest was 1 kohen, ba'gera, which I guess is a whole section which has to do with the neck and the lungs, perhaps, but the whole respiratory system. Hagera b'shleisha, it requires 3 kohanim, so we're up to 11 now. Shtei yadayim, the 2 forelegs, b'shnayim, the 2 kohanim, okay, 1 foreleg each. That's we're up to 13, right? Shtei nefonish b'shnayim, the 2 rib cages, 2 sides rib cage were two up to 15. Hakirbayim v'asoles v'yayim b'shlosha shlosha. And the intestines, which are larger even than the rams, of course, and the soles, which was again a larger amount, and the wine was a large amount. B'shlosha shloisha, 3 by 3. Okay, so that's each of these was done by 3 kohanim. So that's another 9 kohanim, altogether 24 kohanim. Okay, so there's more Mishnah by Medvan when it's true by carbon tzibur, by a carbon tzibur. That we divide up among all these kohanim, but carbon yachid. But if it's carbon yachid, imrotzel akriv makriv. One kohen wants to sacrifice the entire thing. He sacrifices the entire thing, and there is no pious for that purpose either. I guess there weren't. I guess there weren't so many kohanim who wanted to do korban yachid, so they didn't need to make order that way with the bias. Maybe there were a lot of kohanim who wanted to do korban yachid. They did have to make order. I don't know exactly how they made sure to maintain order. The article has a whole discussion, note 16. Maybe if they said kohen zacha, or the owner of the korban designated a kohen to sacrifice his korban, and he was the one who set the parameters of the korban for which he was chosen. And the others say there was a pais, but it wasn't as formal as the pais for the korban tzibur. They didn't have to have the specific number of kohanim, which in the mission for korban tzibur, they could do a pais and do a different number of kohanim for korban yachid. So all sorts of possibilities are raised because the Chazal themselves did not specify what the parameters are. Okay, so the Gemara says, however, again, the mission says, one kohen wanted to do it. Theoretically, one kohen could do it. The skinning of the korbanos, and they're butchering into parts. Of korban tzibur and korban yachid is equivalent. Those are both on the same. It's just a question of the number of kohanim involved. Okay, so now we're going to discuss how we derive this number of kohanim. So v'orchu, says they should put the parts on the mizbech. Yocham mea, yocham masayim. Maybe 100, 200 quantum participate in putting the parts in transporting the parts of the carbon to the mizbech. Rabbi Kiva said, "Kosher shmua meruba shmua memuat." Anytime you can understand something to be a lot or a little, tafasta meruba lo tafasta. If you grab on the large number, you did not grab on properly. Tafasta memuat, you to take the smaller number, tafasta. It's kind of like the Occam's razor of halacha, right? You go for the lowest number. Whenever you have a choice of lower or higher numbers, you go by the lowest number necessary. So the Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Meser Mer Shtei Midos. You have two midos. Achas kola, achas shena kola. One of them has a limit, meaning it has a specific number. One of them is limitless because you can go 100, 200, 300 quite, right? Mido kala. Everybody says you take the mido which is defined, limited. Vein more than mido shena kala. You don't go by the limitless. In other words, the same principle expressed in a different way. In another way of expressing it, is the person coming to open or to lock. In other words, the person trying to make things clear or obfuscate. The person comes to open things up, right? So, imomer yomim. If you're going to say days, and this by Zava says, it's in Zava, but it says, right? It says Ziva is many days. If I Yomim Masora, and we're going to say Yomim is 10 days, a random large number, and then Yomim Memes Shalma Od Yomim Rabim. You can say many more days. Mela. Areim Mispar, till no Mehmet, right? Going back to Mora. Maybe it's only 100. El Masayim with 200. El 1,000. El Rebor 10,000. So you go for the minimum. Ella Shatomer Yomim Shnayim. I think I put a word El there, which is not there. El Masayim El Rebor, right? Shatomer Yomim Shnayim Pasachta. If you say that days is 2, the minimum, Yomim is 2, so then you open up, right? So then the Yomim is 2. Rabin gives you a third day. So you have the minimum and that Tafas Muat, the same principle which we've just been speaking about. Ramana says here it's even more clear because Yomim Shnaim, Yomim means only 2. Because Yomim Harbe, can Yomim mean Harbe? In Rubim Haim, right? If there are if there are many, right? So then Balok Fanema Rabim. So it says Rabim. So Yomim cannot mean multiple days because then the word Rabim would be superfluous, right? So therefore here so therefore it means a small amount of days. The minimum. What's the minimum? Haviyam Shnayim. Rabim Shlosha. Then Rabim comes to add a third one. Okay, so then Mor's going to get to, how do you know that? Maybe Rabim adds more than 3, but that already is on the next Amud, and therefore we will leave that additional reckoning for tomorrow.